Hi, this is Mark Sherman, and I'm going to be presenting tonight Leviticus, the musical. And if it's not time and you're watching whenever you want, that's okay too. But it's nighttime here. So, um, what I'm going to do is tell you a little bit about the project, and then I'm going to launch into playing about 10 songs. In fact, exactly 10 songs. So, before we get started on the songs, I'm going to say a little bit about where this project comes from. It's part of a year-long project that I've been working on that I'm calling the Musical Midrash Project. And so here's what the Musical Midrash Project is about. It's, for me, began as a personal experiment with ways to connect to the language of Torah, and in particular, my sense of a kind of beauty in the language of the Torah. I wanted to find a way to connect not only to the intellectual meaning of it, but to make a heart connection that music uniquely provides. And through the musical exploration, to learn more about the emotional layers of the text. Now, the word midrash uh, comes from a long tradition, at least 2,000 years old, drawing on the rabbinic tradition. And the way I understand midrash is that when the rabbis as in their study of the text, they would see problems or challenges, a grammatical quirk or something that a sequencing that was unusual. And there are many, many examples of this, of course, in Torah. And they wouldn't say that, well, that was an imperfection in the text. They would say that's an opportunity for interpretation. Why does it say that? What meaning does it have for us? So that's midrash. Musical midrash for me became a way of connecting to that tradition. But what I did was I went to, week by week over the course of a year, I looked for texts that I thought were beautiful or lyrical in some way. Instead of calling out for interpretation intellectually, they called out to me for a kind of a melodic interpretation. And so that's what I did over the course of a year. Week by week, I would find a text and I would just work through melodically what music would I bring for myself to this text. And over the course, so again, over that year, I had 54 texts because there's 54 different weekly readings. I know there's 52 weeks, but there's a couple of extra readings because we have combined sections. And so there's 54 of these Parshiot sections, and I had 54 melodies. This year, I've been doing 3 different things with those melodies that I completed over the course of a previous year. One, well, I went back and listened to those melodies to see if they still spoke to me, and I was amazed that they still did. And secondly, this year I've been working on the English translations so that I could interpret the lyrical, what I felt is the lyrical meaning of the text, and stay within the rhythm of those texts. So I could sing the same melodic line that goes with the Hebrew, I could sing with the English, and that would make it more meaningful, both to me and to those listening who are native English speakers. And the third step for me has been to share these songs, and I've been telling everyone this is the hardest step for me. All the other things I could do in my own head, but actually uh, figuring out how to perform them and how to share them has been the biggest challenge. But this is what I'm doing now is part of that, and thank you for being a part of it, because listening and then hopefully sharing back with me what you think is part of my learning and part of the continuing development of the Musical Midrash project. So I'm about to bring you the Leviticus the musical. The timing of this presentation is we're in the week of the final reading of the book of Leviticus, Bahar Bechukotai, one of those double portions that allows us to have 54. And so I've collected the 10 songs that make up the book, one from each of the Parshiot that make up the book of Leviticus, and I'll be presenting them as a cycle. And so, in doing that and thinking back as to when I put these little dots together of little verses lyrical verses from different parts of the book of Leviticus, I asked myself, and I want to share with you, what did we learn from this? What does it mean? I don't need to tell you probably that a lot of people think of the book of Leviticus as a very dry sort of text, unlike the amazing narrative technicolor type of activities that happen in the book of Genesis and the book of Exodus. Leviticus is a lot of laws, a lot of ritual laws, instructions for the priests, and so forth. And so a lot of people kind of just sort of like, well, let's skip ahead in our text and see what else is happening. But this project really forced me to look at what is happening in the text in Leviticus. It may not be narrative, but it is of emotional weight, of lyrical importance. And so what I want to emphasize as I'm going through is that these are songs that speak of a drama that takes place in every human life. It's a yearning that all of us feel. On the one hand, we live in the world. We are rooted in our bodies. We're rooted in time. We're rooted in our mortality. But we also have a sense of relationship and even belonging to a world beyond time, a world beyond our physical limits. And it's that drama that takes place psychically in our spiritual lives, this relationship that we have, and that drives these songs. So you'll hear love songs in the book of Leviticus. They're about this relationship. So I'm going to play the 10 songs, and I'll introduce each one, and I'll kind of help point to how these songs chart out around the ups and downs of this relationship that we have. So I'll just take my guitar and get ready to play. Adjust the camera one moment. You see a little bit more of the guitar. So this first song is from the first Parsha, the book, from the Parsha Vayikra, from which the book gets its name. And this song starts right with the relationship question. How are we in a relationship? As we are in a relationship with the Holy One, what kind of gift do you give to a God who has everything? That's the first song. You see a little bit of what I mean about finding the lyricism in the text. That was one of the fun challenges of finding the English words that would get to the meaning, maybe the emotional meaning, the relationship meaning inside this text. The next song from the Parsha Tzav speaks of the Eish Tamid, the eternal flame, and for me this is a song about the confirmation, the affirmation of our commitment to continuity in the relationship, which transcends one person. It takes a whole community across time, across generations, to keep this promise, and that's what this song is about. I should mention that I've put song sheets online, and some people enjoy following along. They can see the Hebrew transliteration as well as the original Hebrew and the English verses, and I believe you can find those song sheets pretty easily if you Google or do an internet search for Leviticus the musical. I'm proud to say it shows up as your top choice, at least it did today. So look for Leviticus the musical, and even as you're listening, you can find those song sheets and you can follow it on a phone or a tablet or whatever while you're listening to these songs. So this is Tzav Eish Tamid. That got a little up tempo, but you'll see that there's a lot of different tempos in this performance. there's a lot of different aspects to the relationship that we have. And I'm going to just do a little adjustment here so I can see you better and you can see me better. One sec. Home studio quality. We're going to turn to the next song for Shemini. Shemini is the Parsha where most of our laws of kashrut, how to keep kosher, they come from this Parsha. And appropriately, and this is for some one of the core verses, core principles of the book of Leviticus, it's the word ulahavdil. There's a beautiful, not only an important, but also kind of a beautiful verse in Shemini about knowing the difference between the holy and the unholy, the earthly and the unearthly. And this speaks to our own awareness that we cultivate through our tradition of being aware of when we are in the 6 days of the week, or when we're in Shabbat, or when we're in a state of distance, or kind of being in our bodies and in our sort of mortal selves, and when we are somehow reaching into a transcendent level that we have a connection with. So, Shemini, Ulahavdil. We now arrive at the Parsha that from the beginning of my project I kind of dreaded, because Tazria, I knew it was coming. Tazria is the portion of our Torah that deals with the laws relating to leprosy and this scaly affliction on the skin. And you would think, how could there be a song about that? And it's one of the things that I eventually came to really love about this project, is it forced me to deal with parts of the text that I might prefer to just tiptoe around and go on to the next thing. But there was something there, and what I found in this song is a kind of realization that songs, like the Torah, take us to all kinds of different emotional places, and that includes very sad places and very places of struggle. And so this is a song about those struggles, and actually, as I'm singing this in pandemic conditions, boy, are we aware of struggle. And this song has actually been, as many struggle songs are, in a strange way comforting. And I think that's in the text as well. It's a kind of a comfort that even in the struggle, you're still in that relationship with something beyond yourself. Even if you can hardly think of anything beyond your immediate challenges, there's still that relationship that's there that pulls you through. So this is from Tazria, Adam. Adam, Adam, Kieh, Yor Besaro, Seit Osapachat, Ovacheret, Adam, 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 V'haya, Yor Besaro, Lanega, Tzara, Adam, 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 Adam. Man, afflicted by sores, afflicted by woe, by disease, and by circumstance. How you tremble, man, man, afflicted by sores, afflicted by woe, your trouble on your face, man. That's another part of the relationship that we're in. I think we can all relate to being terribly trapped in our suffering and having someone there who's still with us. And that's what our Torah is speaking to, I think. At least that's what the music has taught me, and I hope I'm teaching to you as well. Tazria often goes with the Parsha Sora as a double Parsha, and the songs kind of pair together. I tried to pair the songs when there was a double Parsha. And so this song speaks to kind of the other, the next step in that relationship, the sense of transcendence beyond the earthbound and the mortal. And so for Sora, Velo Yamutu. Another up-tempo number from the book of Leviticus the musical. Part of the fun for me was finding what is the melody that matches, that goes with this verse, that goes with the meaning, the emotional meaning, and the sound of the words, because the sound of the words was very important to what made it pop out of the text. These next two songs that are also part of a double parsha, Acharei Mot and Kedoshim, I used a different sort of tempo. You might have noticed there's a lot of the other songs, somehow I would get into kind of a Latin kind of a rhythm, because that's what the text suggested. These next two took me into this sort of more American folk walking rhythm, and I came to think of that as sort of a pun, because these are songs that have to do with halakha, which on the one hand means the tradition of mitzvot that we do. That's the halakha, but halakha comes from the word walking, and so the walking rhythm seemed very appropriate. And for some reason, these melodies were very much in my heart as I encountered the text. So part of our challenge is when we talk about the relationship with that we experience, or sort of struggle in ourselves between our earthly selves and the sort of higher spiritual self, is how to build into our everyday actions this sense of being still connected with the holy. And so much of the book of Leviticus is about this, and these songs certainly are. So this is from Acharei Mot, Ushmartem. And I think you'll notice kind of a change of the style. Ushmartem et chukotai, et mishpatai, asher yaseh otam ha'adam, asher yaseh otam ha'adam. V'chai b'hem ani Adonai, v'chai b'hem ani Adonai. And you will keep these laws of mine, and keep these ways for all time. And as you do these things for heaven above, as you do these things, you will live in peace and with love. Yes, you will live in peace and with love. V'chai b'hem ani Adonai, v'chai b'hem ani Adonai. And that leads us into Kedoshim, which one of the most well-known and remembered verses of Leviticus, but also a very musical one to my ear, Kedoshim Tihiyu Ki Kadosh Ani. And this also had kind of a walking rhythm as I experienced it, and I brought kind of again, sort of an American gospel sort of sound to the melody. Kedoshim Tihiyu, Ki Kadosh Ani. So that's my flirtation with the American gospel tradition. All these different musical parts of myself responded to the text in different ways. So you're on this journey with me, and thanks for staying so far. We have just a few more songs to go as we complete the book of Leviticus. And, when I talk about the sort of walking rhythm and the halakha, that's the rhythm of the daily life, the things that we do every day that keep us connected. But as you know, there's also certain special times of the year. And the next song from Amor, which is a Parsha that deals with the holidays, speaks to these special times in the year. We have daily rhythms, we have yearly rhythms. And so this song is about how we build into the year special times that we elevate, and the emphasis here is that we do this because of this relationship. Just as for Mother's Day, which recently happened, you reach out, your kids reach out to you, or you reach out to the moms in your family. So these holidays are where we kind of reach out of our regular rhythms, and we pay attention to things that maybe we like to pay attention to all the time, but we can't. So this is how we do it. And this song really speaks to, we make this happen.
The
Nice little bouncy rhythm for our annual celebrations. Um, the final two songs in the book of Leviticus, I think it somehow came together this way that they speak to the other part of our relationship, the Holy One reaching out toward us to be in this world with us. And the first song is about, it's a reflection on Holy Land, about how the Holy One dwells in the land and calls the land holy. And what does that mean? And how, but I think what it came to me as I reflected on this beautiful passage, it's part of that relationship. It is the reaching out into our world, into this earthly world of the divine spirit. So first we'll sing again from a double parsha, Bahar Bechukotai. So from Bahar, Kili Haaretz, and then we'll turn to Bechukotai and the final song, which is sort of the summing up of this powerful relationship that we have. Kili Haaretz, Kili Haaretz, Ki Gerim V'Toshavim Aten Imadim, Kili Haaretz, Kili Haaretz, Ki Gerim V'Toshavim Aten Imadim. The land is holy, the land is holy. We are hosted here together, everyone. The land is holy, the land is holy. We are visitors whose time has only begun. Kili Haaretz, Kili Haaretz, Ki Gerim V'Toshavim Aten Imadim, Kili Haaretz, Kili Haaretz, Ki Gerim V'Toshavim Aten Imadim. When land is holy, when land is holy, it cannot be truly owned by you or by me. When land is holy, when land is holy, it can only belong to eternity. Kili Haaretz, Kili Haaretz, Ki Gerim V'Toshavim Aten Imadim, Kili Haaretz, Kili Haaretz, התושבים אתם עמדי. Staying in this sort of love song vein, from Bechukotai, Brit Rishonim, that calls us back to those early days of our relationship, how we started out, and through remembrance, kind of this affirmation of why we're together, and a sense that we'll always be together. So I was joking when I was earlier in this project that what I wanted to do is put the love into Leviticus, and I think this song certainly lands on that sentiment. I did feel that I found a tremendous amount of love in Leviticus, and that these songs help to bring out something very special. Not dry at all, but underneath those rituals from long ago, there's still this sort of burning fire of connection that we continue to affirm in our days and our years, and certainly right now as we sing together. So we'll finish on the Chukotai Brit Rishonim. V'zacharti lachem Brit Rishonim Hotzeki otam me'eretz Mitzrayim me'elei hagoyim li'ot lahem Elohim Ani Adonai Brit Rishonim Brit Rishonim V'zacharti lachem Brit Rishonim V'zacharti lachem Brit Rishonim. I will remember always our early days when I cared for you and you gave me your faith, and the world could see how beautiful our love could be, a holy love, a holy love. Those early days, those early days, I remember always our early days. I remember always our early days. Brit Rishonim, Brit Rishonim, V'zacharti lachem Brit Rishonim, V'zacharti lachem Brit Rishonim, Brit Rishonim, Brit Well, thank you so much for listening. I have enjoyed sharing these songs, and you can tell others about it. this video is findable by others, and I'm hoping to share a little bit of what I learned and maybe bring people closer and more connected to a very beautiful and important text that continues to give comfort and guidance to those who pay attention and to listen and who seek out the meanings that might be underneath the surface. And so if the musical Midrash has helped to do that, then I've been successful in what I've been trying to do. And I'm going to keep doing it. So this is just one part of the Torah, Leviticus. I will continue to, I have 54 songs. And so the next set will be from the book of Numbers. I'm not sure if it's going to be called the Midbar, the musicals, or some other fun title, but the songs will be coming. I'm very excited to share them with you. And what I will be doing is, as we get to the end of the cycle of the book of Numbers, I'll be sharing for the first time this new group of songs. So again, thank you for listening, and I look forward to if I see you and you have a chance to tell me about it, about your experience. I'll be very interested in hearing. So you can reach out to me through the Musical Midrash Project. I'll make sure to post on the place where this video is posted ways that you can contact me and let me know that you'd like to hear more. And thank you and good night.